want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
We are the Mad Men of Masculinity.
Your home for healthy masculinity. We're just real men having real conversations for you. Good day, Mad Men Mafia.
That's right. I'm Kirk M. Samuels.
And I am Jason B. Kendrick.
And we are the Mad Men of Masculinity.
That's right. We're just real men having real conversations for you.
Yeah, real conversations.
What are we
man.
talking about today, man?
This one is one of those probably going to offend somebody.
Oh, I like the offensive ones.
It's probably going to offend somebody, but it is what it is. Hey, first of all, before I say anything else, I'd like to thank the special gift giver that gave me some silent fidget things, so I don't, make noise while I'm here on the microphone.
That was a special present from our producer who hates the noise you make.
Producer meaning my wife. I got several fidget spinner things that are quiet.
Nice, thank you.
She's tired of me getting yelled at by you for all the clicks.
I'm tired of you making noise and stuff. So
it is what it is, man.
Thank you, special delivery lady, for helping us out there.
Yeah. So we're gonna offend some people, man. I got an image today sent to me as a meme or gift or I don't know. It was a picture of something that said men. I'm kind of paraphrasing because I'm trying to picture it in my mind. It said men would literally prefer or choose a shy, polite woman with zero accomplishments over an arrogant, successful career woman. Something along those lines. But basically that was the comparison. Was it? See?
Yeah.
I got a photographic memory, man. And I thought it was kind of interesting, man, to unpack for a hot minute, man, in terms of what men choices are, what we want, the things we prefer, and all those kinds of things, man. So yeah, I say let's endeavor to offend some people today.
Well, it's the usual kind of battle that we fight when it comes to men and women, where what women value, they assume men value. Women want a six-figure man who's 6 foot tall, six-pack abs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then, when a man is more successful, he's more high value, he has more to offer. And so the ladies are thinking, well, that's what I value, so that's what men will value. And it's not really the case. I know sometimes when we're in our, as men, kind of growing up phase, and we're looking for certain things, or we think we want certain things. Like, I know I used to be wanting to find a more like high-powered woman, someone who's on stage, got her stuff together, is doing all the stuff that I wanted to do. But then the more I hung out with those ladies, the more I realized that would be more of a competition. It wouldn't be a peaceful, successful relationship. And so my mindset has shifted, because you need that polarity to find the harmony and the balance in relationships. So a lot of these things that we're being told that, by women that men want is just not the case.
Couple things. I'm gonna start off with one thing, and then I'm gonna come back, and hopefully I can remember the second thing, based on what you just said. First of all, if women are watching this, be real. I mean, you do want a man that has some commas in his annual salary. You do, because to you that means financial security, and security and provision is important to women. So that is the case. Nobody wants a broke man. Y'all talk about that amongst each other. You don't want no. That's even a song, I think. Don't want no broke or something, whatever. A guy living in a basement somewhere. You talk bad about all these other, regardless of if he's making smart decisions or not. If a guy, if he doesn't have, let's say, a home or an apartment, maybe he's at a place in life where he'd rather make a choice to settle down or lock in when he gets some things. So maybe it's better if he's in, whatever. I mean, if he's staying somewhere. So you do want financial security. You do want a man taller than you. Yes, you do. You want a man taller than you because when you wear your heels, you don't want to be higher than he is in altitude. again, back to a security, safety kind of thing, and just the optics of it all. You don't want to be seen as bigger than. That's why you want a man that's taller than you, preferably by 4 to 6 inches, in case you wear your 4 to 6 inch heels. It is what it is, And you do want a man that is fit. You do want a man that's good looking. You do want a man that's physically good looking and in shape, because to you, again, back to being secure and all these other kind of things, and where his priorities are, and it also makes the other women jealous. Let's just be real. When he has all of those things, you can't you like the way the women roll their eyes when they look at you. You want a man that can buy you a Louis purse for Christmas. You just do. Because when you walk into the bathroom and you put the purse on your shoulder, that it's a statement, right? So you do want these things. So, so let's keep it real in terms of the things that, the whole, 6 figures, 6 feet, 6 feet. Yes, you do. And there's the other six in there that don't get thrown in a lot, in terms of performance, in terms of what he has to offer you when the lights are on or off, all these other kind of things. And so let's be real. You absolutely do want all of the sixes and the sixes, and all these other kind of things. And in terms of what's important, for a man to say, you know what, maybe I don't want a woman that is on stage, and maybe I don't want a woman that's boss babe and all that kind of stuff. It's not because he's intimidated by you. Men don't get intimidated by successful women. I don't know where that myth comes from. It doesn't. I mean, that's especially the older a guy gets. It's just not. It's not intimidation. He just don't like it. He don't like it because he don't want to have to compete in terms of, you come home and let's whip him out today and see who's more successful in our. Maybe he just doesn't want those kinds of things. I mean, so those two things, man. In terms of what you just said, the sixes, and then I've realized the same thing, man. At first, I thought a power couple was me and a woman that was an author and a speaker and all that kind of stuff. Then I realized, man, in the evening, I just want to watch Married at First Sight. I just want to watch Love Is Blind, The Bachelor every now and then. Like, I don't want to come home and talk about book sales and how many deals I closed and the next this and the next that. So, man, a woman, in my life is gonna be more peaceful at home than talking about challenges and all these other kind of stuff. So, anyhow, when you said, I know I kind of went long and rambled, but those two things, I could just hear the haters in the background talking about women don't want the sixes and all that, whatever. And I could also hear the women, going down the road of, men being intimidated by your success. I have not met a woman yet who was successful in any kind of way that I was, ooh, and I need to step back and I'm intimidated by you, or any other guy. It's just, we don't want to deal with your boss babe masculine energy that you want to bring into our presence, period.
Yeah, no, when we walk into a room, we do a networking event, we meet the boss babes, and we just get the ick. Ladies, you like to talk about the ick a lot. We get the ick when y'all come in with that masculine energy, and then you got that look, that stank eye, where basically I already can tell it's gonna be a fight, an argument. It's gonna be like, "What have you done for me lately?" Or "What's the next thing? What's your 5 year plan?" It's like, don't worry about my 5 year plan. And to all those who want to deny, I think what's happening a lot, to your point, those that are denying, oh, I don't want the sixes, they finally realize they can't get it because those guys don't want them. A lot of times, the guys that, the hypergamy is real. Majority of women want the top 10% of men. And those top 10% have such a plethora of options when it comes to the dating market, ladies. They're not even worried about settling down because everybody wants them, because the middle, was it like 60% of men from like 80 down to 20 or whatever it is invisible to most ladies. And so when it comes to what guys want, they want peace, they want companionship, they want nurturing, they want a nice soft woman to come home to so they can take off the armor and after have spent all day slaying dragons and run around the world and being men and taking it on the chin. They don't want competition at home. They don't want an argument at home. They don't want to get in a sword fight at home because you're in your masculine and you're trying to show that yours is bigger than his. They don't want that. And so for a lot of ladies, you got to understand that those guys, the top 10%, probably don't want you. And so lower your standards. You need to have some realization, like where you actually fall in the sexual marketplace value, and look for somebody around there who wants the attributes that you have. Because there are some guys, I mean, some of the beta guys that have been raised by single mothers who think that they want the boss babe. But most of those guys you're not attracted to because he's a beta. He's going to be not as confident, not as forthcoming. He's not going to be as masculine as you probably want him to be. But that's the balance that we all have to come up with. That's the harmony in the masculine feminine dynamic. So if you want to be the boss babe, just go ahead and accept the fact you're going to get a beta male, or you're going to get passed around by the top 10%ers who don't really want to keep you anyway.
Yeah, we've had some form of this conversation several times, right? I mean, and when a lot of times, folks won't they won't type in the comment because they don't want their name to be shown and all this other kind of stuff. But ironically, I do get people saying something directly to me when they see me. I remember, when y'all was having that conversation, this and that, and most of the time when we have this kind of topic, the feedback that I get from from women is mostly the ones that are offended, and they're offended because they bought into the narrative that they got to become a man to get a man, and they don't want to believe that. They don't want to accept the fact that you got sold wolf tickets. Somebody convinced you that that you got to be this in order to get that, and you're not even listening to you're not even listening to that as the source of truth as to what it is that that requires you getting that. If you want that top tier man, you can't aspire to be the top tier woman. Yes, there are exceptions. Yes, there are very successful men with very successful women, and it's working great. Okay, how many of those are there out there versus how many complementary scenarios where somebody prefers to be on the stage and in the limelight and on camera and on microphones, and their perfect partner is somebody that doesn't? I guarantee you there's a lot more of those than there are both of us, on stage holding up trophies. It just doesn't happen that way. And so, if you want to keep going down the road and buying all the false crap that's out there in terms of what you got to be, woman, to get this type of man, then fine, do you boo boo, but keep complaining to your girlfriends when all men are this or all men are that, because it just ain't working.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you subjugate one gender or the other or one section into all of this or all of that, that's usually trauma response. So, I mean, if you're doing that, then just you need to go look in the mirror and go, I have some work to do. I might need to talk to somebody, go get some therapy, and realize that I've been sold the bill of goods that doesn't work. And so if I want something that might actually have a chance of working, I've got to change my mindset, got to change my expectations, got to change the things I'm doing. And that's the problem, especially here in the West and the US. Most people don't want to change anything. They want the whole world to change around them instead of them actually changing themselves, which is basically the definition of insanity. Yeah, let's change the entire world so I can feel comfortable. That ain't going to happen. Speaking
and most of the time,
being comfortable, we got to take that break.
Do we? Oh, man. All right, fine. We'll be right back. Mad Men of Masculinity, KLDC. Man, I thought you was early on that one.
No, I know you wasn't watching. You're about to go off on a rant. On a tangent.
I sure was. Actually, I was about to say that I'm about to contradict myself when we come back on a little bit. Okay, not contradict myself, but not contradict myself, but break down that quote on that little image a little bit.
Okay, let's do that.
My word. And we're back. Yeah, we're back, folks. We are back. Mad Men of Masculinity on KLDC 1220 AM in the Mile High City, on the interwebs everywhere. MadmenRadio.com, all the podcast platforms, YouTube, Facebook, all those other kind of things. So we come on here once a week and we record the meat and potatoes of our radio show. Then we hand it off to our producer, who then goes back and chops it up like grown folks, and adds in all the good stuff, makes us sound like an actual professional radio show, putting all the stuff in the middle. Then it airs over the air here in Denver, Saturday, 8 a.m., Wednesdays at 6 p.m. And so that's how we do our thing, man. We love the sponsors that we have that help us make this thing happen. These are real people that care about men's stuff, and they They put their support where their mouth is, and so we believe in them, man. And so yeah, so that's what we do, man. We doing our thing,
Yeah,
and
so you
today we
said
talking about
you said
yeah.
during the break you had some contradictory things to say. Something you
I
want to
am,
break
man,
something down.
because that quote, see, that quote said, there's a couple words in there that I didn't really fully jive with. Um,
Were they the three
the quote was,
syllables you didn't
yeah,
understand, or
yeah. Read the quote. You got it right in front of you. I might mess it up if I try to repeat it again.
it said basically men will literally choose a shy, polite, soft woman with zero achievements over an arrogant career woman.
All right. So two things. The first part, I'm not down with the whole zero achievements part of anything. I think, achievements can be defined subjectively. Achievements don't have to mean, a book on the shoulder or over your shoulder, or, honors tab, from the degree you got, or your booming business or your whatever. Achievements don't have to be, those kind of things. Achievements can be the person that you are. To me, being a great mom is an achievement. To me, being a great person is an achievement. To me, overcoming adversity is an achievement. To me, being having done work on yourself, that you can be vulnerable and you can be open and you can be self-reflective and to some degree self-critical, that is an achievement. To be able to look in the mirror and to love who you see, but recognize that what you see is a work in progress. That is an achievement. So to me, zero achievements, I don't know. If you haven't achieved none of that, I ain't got no time for you. So I got a little problems with the zero achievement part. And then secondly, the second half of that, the word arrogant. The word arrogant is where I kind of fall off the map in terms of the successful, career woman and all that kind of stuff. I don't successful career woman. I'm married to a successful career woman. By far, is she not arrogant though? And to me, so arrogant is the part that kind of turns me off on the second part, and the zero achievements turns me off on the first part.
Yeah, no, I can agree with you on the zero achievements because I mean I think the way that was going or that quote was going was achievements as in money, career, business, etc., etc. Whereas when we use a different mindset or a different criteria for judgment, then being a great person, being loving, caring, nurturing, being a great mother, being a great partner, those are huge achievements. Being able to actually have a successful relationship is probably the biggest achievement most of us could ever have in our life, and we keep putting that on the back burner for some sort of career or money because that's where our income comes in, and we're starting to all see, like, we're starting to see behind the curtain. We're starting to see the forest for the trees and realize we've been sold a bill of goods. We've had the wool pulled over our eyes, and there's a push to isolate all of us, to separate all of us, to destroy the nuclear family, American family, and a lot of these things are being pushed, marketed to ladies so that they don't look at what men really want in a relationship. They get told, oh, you need to be a career woman or you need to be that. And I see, and we know a lot of the ladies who bought into that and they went to college, they got their degree, they're hugely successful in business, but they're struggling in relationships. They don't have the children they want. They don't have relationships they want. And then they're running out of time. And it's one of those things that nobody kind of drew that line in the sand for the ladies and in their teenage years and their college years and whatnot, and say, hey, there's a finite time here if you want a family. You can do the career thing, but you may not get that opportunity. And I think that's what we're dealing with now is there's a lot of ladies who've been sold that bill of goods who aren't willing to accept the fact that that choice has repercussions. They still feel like, well, I should be able to get whatever I want. I should still be able to have the love of my life and have the 2.5 kids and the white picket fence and all those things, even though I've spent my fertile years in corporate America making a career. And you can do whatever you want, but every choice has consequences and every blessing is a curse. And when it comes down to what men want, a lot of you ladies have got it backwards.
Any woman can get a man. Any woman can get a man. What are you willing to do for that? Hey, that's on you. I mean, odds are, if you're willing to open your legs wide enough, there's a man out there who you can get. A man. I didn't say the man you want. I said a man. Any woman can get a man. Very few women can keep a man. Very few women can keep a man because in the man's home, to keep a man, you have to be able to generate and create and manifest peace in a space. If you cannot do that, and if especially if you have no desire to do that, if you are combative, if you are argumentative, if you are controlling, if you are manipulative, if you are domineering, none of those create peace in the context of a relationship, in the context of a home, in the context of a space. And so if you have more men running through your life than an Olympic track stadium, then that is an indication that you probably should work on your ability to create peace. And so when that statement talks about, a shy, polite, all those kinds of things, to me, I read into that someone, and I'm not talking about weakness. I mean, femininity is the most powerful entity on earth, I think. I think femininity is the splitting of an atom. Femininity can create and power a city. Femininity can also destroy and flatten a civilization. So read into that what you may. But there is extreme power in being able to create peace, not war, peace. And so, when you are able to get something that you can't keep, to me, that is a character flaw. And to me, that is, and we are absolutely talking about, women in this context in terms of a relationship. I know all y'all, well, what about men? We get there at some point. You listen to us enough. You listen to us more often than not. We talking to guys about how guys can up level. At the same time, there's a narrative that guys think, feel, and experience that doesn't get expressed. And we have an obligation and a commitment to speak to that as well. And so, in the context of this discussion, this topic here today, come back next time or go back to the last time you hear us talking to men. I'm telling you that when I hear talking about shy and polite, and then on the flip side, when I hear talking about arrogant and all that kind of stuff, yeah, you'll see the guy that the great guy that'll he's okay getting the girl that's working the fries at McDonald's. If she can provide him peace, he's okay with that. He's okay with the barista. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it is what it is, and that's why you find the guy that's like, man, he threw it all away for her. You can be the president of the United States, and when there's an intern that comes through offering you something that you don't have, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not justifying that. To me, that's an extreme case. But when you ask your question, what could cause a man to give up everything for that? Because in his world and in his case, in that situation, she provided him some level of escape and some level of peace in his life.
Yeah, there's a great meme, a little video that I've seen. It was off some show, some movie, and the wife is freaking out because the man is leaving her for another woman. And she's like, well, is she younger than me? He's like, no. Is she better looking than me? He's like, no. Is she, more successful or more this or more that? And he's like, no. She's like, then why? It's like, because she doesn't make me feel less than. She doesn't make me feel disrespected. She doesn't make me feel small. She's not argumentative. She's not always up on my case about everything. And that's the gist of what men want. They want a woman who can play ball with them, who can be on the same team with them. That's why so many Western men are going to, Asia right now looking for women because they're appreciative and they want to be women. They want to support their man. They want to cook for him. They want to do all the things and be taken care of by him. When you're in this boss babe mentality and you got it all, then you don't leave room for him to be a man. When you got everything, when you get offended when somebody opens the door for you, when you get offended when a man tries to be a man and be chivalrous for you, then you're not opening space for him to be a man. So he's just going to say, and if he's a good man, if he's a man who knows his value, he's just going to say, okay, next. There's plenty of women who will appreciate me and who will respect me. If you're not it, then next. But what's really interesting, and back to the statistics, but most women are leaving relationships. They could have a great man, And I've seen so many of these come up, and it just boggles my mind. But I get it. I mean, ladies, you're driven by emotion. So when you get the egg, you don't feel the butterflies, and you think and you got all these quote unquote options out there on social media, and you're sliding in your DMs, and you think you have all the options in the world. Well, most of those guys just want you for fun, not forever. And you have a guy who's been with you, but you have some sort of emotion, you have some sort of ick, some sort of, well, I think I can do better because these guys are in my DMs. You tend to ruin a relationship that could have been your forever one. And then you end up being single mother, being passed around by all these guys, all these quote unquote men who will just take advantage. And you had the opportunity, but it took work. I think that's the biggest issue is we're in relationships nowadays, especially in the West, people aren't willing to put in the work up front and the work to continue. Some guys and some women will be more upfront and put more work and effort into it up front. But then once they get them, I got them. I got the ring on their finger. I'm good. Then they stop working, which is why so many relationships are failing nowadays.
I wish something you just said wasn't true. Um, but women do leave relationships. I mean, exponentially more than men. If you don't believe if you don't believe that statement, just Google divorce rates and who files for divorce and who's breaking up. Your whoever you universal you, if you listen to this, that last relationship probably ended because the female in the relationship ended. I mean, it just is what it is. And so, and again, I think some of that is buying into something better. Absolutely, you should bounce quickly if there's any kind of divorce, or I'm sorry, if there's any kind of abuse or any of that kind of stuff. But having a hard time in a relationship doesn't mean necessarily he's emotionally abusing. And so, unfortunately, we find more often than not statistically, you ask any divorce lawyer who filed for the divorce. I mean, you're talking 8, 9 out of 10. It's the woman, the wife. And so I wish that wasn't the case, but unfortunately, unfortunately it is. And then
And
on top of that,
unfortunately,
what
it's
I
that time
found,
for us to take that break again.
ooh, yeah, let's take a break, man. I'm about to
You
roll
better take
into
that
another
break.
thing.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
better go. You got to
Madman
run
and
off at the mouth.
Masculinity, KLDC, we'll be right back. Dude, I'm just like loquacious tonight, dude. I can't shut up.
That's all good. I'll let
You
you
need to
go.
tell me to shut up.
Nah, I'll let you go.
I'm fuego. All right, let's rock and roll.
Passionate. He's passionate, folks. All right.
I'm passionate about this one. We're back.
And we're back. This is Madman Show.
Madmen of
We are on
Masculinity,
KLDC.
baby.
We are over the airwaves in
right.
Denver, Colorado, and in the Front Range and all around, and on the interwebs, everywhere.
Everywhere. I just said, man, I just realized,
man.
I'm passionate. I'm passionate about that. I'm passionate about, just this topic, this dynamic. And part of the reason that I'm passionate, I'm just going to go there. I normally don't like to do this for several reasons, but I'm just going to go there. I'm passionate about this because of my wife. Quite honestly, I've experienced marriage before, and I've seen it from a lot of different perspectives. I hold myself accountable for past relationships that failed, even though I hold myself accountable because because I was the man and in that whole thing, and I just generally hold the masculine more accountable. But then on top of that, I know me and I know how I was in the past, and I was a straight up fool, right? That's not to say that whatever. So I'm passionate about this because just because of the dynamic of what it's like when you have two people that are striving for the same goal, and the same goal is mutual benefit, right? The same goal is we win, not I win, but we win. And I think it's pretty cool. And and I also recognize the fact that she has to fight against this modern feminist narrative that's out in the culture of what it is, what it's like in the home, what it's like to exist, to be co-equals in terms of value in a relationship, and at the same time not the same. in terms of the value of the relationship. And I just think, man, it's just so unfortunate when I see so many other women just buying into that narrative that I got to be a ball busting, in charge, boss babe, whatever, bringing all my masculine, and especially when I hear women talking about dating woes and all this other kind of stuff. And I'm like, maybe that's because maybe that's because you got the wrong recipe for the dish that you're really trying to cook. And unfortunately, it's just sad. It's just sad. And so I get passionate about this whole thing, man, because I think, God, if we can both kind of step back, and if the man in this if the man can recognize what not to buy into, if a man can recognize that cleavage ain't everything, if a man can recognize that having arm candy doesn't necessarily look like what Hollywood or the porn industry says, you know as far as the primary thing, or in terms of what you should be searching for. Man, if we can do that, and then if women can just kind of back off of the narrative that they're buying, man, it really can work, and it can be pretty cool, and it can be beautiful.
Yeah, I see a lot of. I mean, I rode the gondola the other day with some ladies, and one of them was talking about, oh, I'm going out on a ice cream date or something, and they were talking about their these horrible dating things as divorced women and this and that, and it just dawned on me because I realized I was one of them too. That a lot of the guys who would be considered quote unquote good men or high value men nowadays have just checked out. Like when they go out they don't even want to go out in the world and mess around with all these boss babes and career women and stuff, and even a lot of times like some of these ladies with the amazing physiques and the makeup and the outfits, and you see all this the BBLs and the Botox and all the stuff that they're doing. All of those things are red flags to men nowadays. Like all those things, they would much rather have a good 6'7" girl next door who barely wears makeup and big oversized t-shirts and doesn't wear 4-inch heels and leather this and that and doesn't need all the couture bags and things, the Louis V's and all that stuff. Like they would much rather have, and I think that's one of the things that's going on now. There's a lot of guys who'd much rather have a girl who'd rather live in her van down by the river than all these boss babe girls that are out there on social media and you know doing all the things that they think attracts men. No, what that tends to attract are the traumatized guys who are still in that quality or quantity over quality thing. They're just trying to get as many girls as they can in the sack as often as they can. They'll use whatever subversive methods they can to get into your pants and to get you into bed, but they're not really there in honesty and in truth to have a real relationship. And so I see a lot of this on both sides, where a lot of ladies now who have left relationships that could have been worked on are now their options are few and far between, because the only guys in their DMs and chasing them are not the guys they really want. And then the guys that they might want are incognito. They vanished. They're off the map. They're not even playing. They're just gone.
Man, don't even get me started
I know you love
on
me
the
some
needle,
Botox and BBLs, man.
on the needles and the needles, man. Don't even get me started, dude. Oh my Lord, have mercy. I'm telling you, man, these needles. I mean, if I see another 40, 50 plus year old woman with a forehead as smooth as my windshield on my car, or these big duck lips. I mean,
Mm.
that. Oh man, or just you name it, whatever. Or needles in the buttocks, needles in the whatever. I mean, it's like if I'm a 40, if 50, especially the older I get, to me that's a red flag. To me,
Mhm.
it's like, what you trying to rewind the clock for, baby? I mean, you beautiful just the way you are. Why do you need to pay somebody to put needles in your face and artificially enhance your body if you want me to love you for your soul and for your heart? To me, it's a dichotomy. You don't want me to be focused on the outside, but your finances have focused your self-work on the outside. And that's the upside down stuff, and so many are bought into all that kind of stuff. So many are bought into the I got to get this done and I got to get this done because it's going to make me look younger. You ain't doing that for a man. I've never met a single guy. I said this before. I've never met a single guy say, "Oh, she was fine." Boy, you see how smooth her forehead was? Man, you see how plumped up, like artificially them lips were? I've never seen or heard a single guy go eight doo doo off of a smooth forehead. But I'm telling you, there are people just putting their kids through college on all these women trying to get these smooth foreheads, man. But at the same time, you want a man to love you for your heart and to love you no matter what. And if I didn't have this, would you still love me? And all these other kind of things. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, it brings up another point that I think I even sent you the thing, but there was some report or even study about other than their children, most women nowadays don't love their men unconditionally or even know how to love
Mm.
unconditionally because they're emotionally driven. And we even did the episode about men love idealistically and women love opportunistically. And a lot of that's coming out now where, they get to a point where they're treating their marriage like a job, and so that's why they're shopping around trying to find the bigger, better deal. And that's why divorce rates are so high. And that's why a lot of guys like us who get to a certain point and have gotten a certain education, usually through trial and error and trauma and going through the hardships of life, see those things as red flags. Like, yeah, I mean, we're human. If you throw it at us, we might take it, we might play with it, but we're not going to keep it. If you're out there with the BBLs and all the Botox in the face, and for a lot of us, that's red flags. And to Kirk's point, that's a woman-driven industry. We're not telling you to do that, and some of y'all need to do some research because those big fan eyelash things, you need to research why those were created and what they were for, because it's not what you think. And those of us who know, we laugh at a lot of y'all who wear those crazy big eyelashes because we know what they're for. We know what they're created
Mm.
for, and it wasn't a beauty industry thing. It was actually a practical thing from the professional ladies out there in the world. So you can use your imagination to figure it out. But you know, being emotionally driven, ladies, you've got to become aware that you're emotionally driven, and sometimes check your emotions, and then check your single friends who are trying to crab you in the bucket and keep you single with them and miserable. If you got a good thing, don't let them get in your ear and tell you that he ain't nothing and he's not doing anything and you deserve more when he's taking care of you and going to work and busting his butt. All a man needs is appreciation and respect. But when you got your girlfriends telling you he ain't nothing because they're miserable, then it might be time for you to edit your friends list and get some right
Yeah.
ladies around you who can help support you in your relationship and your goals.
And I see a lot of, these types of women that we're talking about. I see them doing things for social media, doing things so
Mhm.
that other people see and other people can, or I mean, not other people, other women, let's be honest, so that other women can be jealous of what you got. Post a picture, you and your man or your man, with his house or his car and all this other kind of stuff. And look at what I got. And it's like, it is so disingenuous, man, but you're doing it for other people, not for whatever. And you throw a dog a bone, he'll chew on it for a little bit. I got a dog, he's right here. We gave him a bone, man. He'll chew on it every now and then and sharpen his teeth and all that kind of stuff. But it's basically entertainment for him, right? He don't fall in love with that bone. He don't take it to bed. He don't, care about it until he walks by and thinks about it. Every now and then he'll go to the other room to get the bone to come chew on it. But yeah, you throw a dog a bone, he'll chew on it for a little bit. But at the same time, it's all surface. And this, this whole conversation, I'll be honest with you. I don't care if I'm offending the woman that is offended by this. Because if you're offended by this, you find truth in it for you and your life. I'm hoping that this conversation encourages and affirms the women that aren't like that, the women who are genuinely out there with a good heart, who are not trying to go over the top with all the artificial stuff. And not doing these things that we're talking about. You are enough, just as you are. You are beautiful inside and out. And when you let that light shine from the inside, the person with the right UV lens will see that. And if you don't come across that person, you're enough single. You don't need that. But and so I'm hoping to encourage the woman that is not offended way more than I'm worried about the woman that is offended. Because if you are offended, you don't want I'm talking about it. I don't care about you anyway. I don't need none of y'all. I got one.
Yeah, the reason you're offended is because we're talking about you. And what you need to realize is that what you've been told and what you've been doing isn't working. Most men want humble, caring, feminine women in their life. And most of y'all don't know what humble is. You got to have to look it up in the dictionary. And, caring and feminine sometimes, but not all the time. And so for most men, it's just kind of a zero sum game. There's no win in it, no reason for me to get in it. So I'm just not going to play. And speaking of playing, it's time for that last break. We're going to be right back. We are the Mad Men of Masculinity. This is KLDC. We'll see you in a minute.
I don't know who they are, but if they offended, I'm glad.
I'm glad you.
If they offended, they need to be offended. If you watching this,
we push that button. We push that button. You need it pushed.
For reals. They say you throw a rock, and the only dog that howls is the one that got hit.
Mm-hmm.
Period. I mean, it just is what it is. I just realized that, and there's just enough women who are not that deserve to be affirmed than women who are like that. Probably more women who are not like that.
There's more because they're usually the quiet, humble, and caring women who aren't all over social media and who aren't
absolutely
out there screaming about what they ain't got.
Yeah, absolutely. The content one is the one that's not trying to show everybody what they got and how good they're doing in life.
Look at my new man.
Anyway. Look at my new whatever, Yeah.
All right, fourth quarter. Let's do it.
Let's finish. Yep, we're back.
Yes, we're back.
We are back. Mad Men of Masculinity. KLDC.
It's the fourth quarter, y'all. Hope you've been paying attention.
Hold up your fours. Hold up your fours.
Yeah, we've been pushing
Hold
buttons.
up your fours. This is it. One of the other things I thought about too, especially as men get older, and I'm going to try to word this
carefully. Do it carefully. We're over here.
Yeah, this ain't the way I would say it if it was just me and you talking. But since this is FCC Airways,
don't say it like we do it on the golf course.
Professional.
Yeah, don't.
So
don't talk like we talking to
fill in the blank. Fill in what I'm saying with like the most hood way that this could be said, or the most inappropriate way this could be said. The older men get, the less we prefer somebody else in the house with the same equipment that we got. I'm too. Yeah, however you can reword that, that's what I'm really trying to say. And that goes for, man, when my son turned 18, when a dad, is raising a son, you don't want that son in the house at 20, 25, 30, 35. No, you get out. There's only one of these in this house. I mean, and that goes for energy as well. I don't want another masculine anything in my house. I just don't. I prefer feminine beauty. And that's not to say I want, a daughter kind of on the books forever. But definitely I don't want any sort of, I don't want that. And so when it comes down to, the shy, polite, we're talking about this quote, the shy, polite versus the arrogant, quote unquote success and all that kind of stuff. Man, no, thank you. I got one of these. I don't need another one in the house.
Well, and that's a great point. I think is what somehow got skewed in the narrative for the ladies in the feminist narrative, that somehow we want you or need you to push us and to I've heard so many women like, oh, when I get a man, I want to make him successful and turn him into a millionaire and a business owner. It's like, whoa, did you ask that man if he wanted that? Most of us, when we come home, we don't even want to be in our full masculine. We want to put the sword down and the shield down. We want to relax. And that's why we want peace and beauty and feminism, or in kindness and nurturing in the house. We don't want to have competition when we come in the house. That's why, to Kirk's point, once your boy's 18, he's gone. He's time to be a man now. Time for you to go out and sow your oats and go do your thing. This is my house. I'm the man around this house, and that's how I want it. And so it's the same kind of thing energetically. We don't want to come home to a man in a dress who's competing with us and fighting with us. And, you get the two masculine energies together coming from the workforce. And unfortunately nowadays, both partners usually have to work. And so you're out in the masculine energy. Is you got to have that conversation and make that game plan. That how do you both get back into your polarities when you get home? How do you both come back in and reset so that you're in home mode and relationship mode now, not business mode? I see so many get so caught up and they bring all the stress and anger and competition and that energy back into the house when that's supposed to be your sanctuary and where you reset, recharge, and heal. But when it becomes another competition, then there is no reset, recharge, and healing. It's just stress. It's stress all around. And you wonder why it breaks down.
The right woman is a multiplier for whatever it is the man is called to and has the potential of being. She is not going to make him into a millionaire if he is not called to or has the potential to in her best. I mean, in her best, most radiant femininity, in her best multiplicity. But she can empower him or almost be a springboard or a catapult for him being everything that he's destined or called to be. And so the idea that she is going to somehow prop him up and make him whatever, no. The phrase, whether you believe it or not, the phrase behind, every good man is a good woman or a good wife, whether you believe in the actual semantics of the phrase, I always took that as, he is empowered to go conquer the world when he is empowered to be safe at home and everything that he needs. And so, and so she has two X chromosomes because she is the multiplier to his X and Y, to whatever his purpose is, to his Y. And so, having that in your life. And so us as men, man, we got to be careful that we don't fall for the okie doke, that we don't fall for the artificially propped up on the exterior woman, that we don't fall for we're looking for a boss babe, this and that. No, 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 no. We can't fall for that as men. There's too many good women out there that we don't need to fall for the ones that, that are not who we need to become everything we're called to be.
And you bring up a great point because they have the two X chromosomes and they are the multiplier. But for you to be in your best version to multiply what that man has, you have to be in your feminine. You have to be in that nature because a man will naturally, when you are in your feminine and he's in his masculine energy, he's naturally going to want to protect, provide for you. He's going to be the best version of himself for you. He's going to want to do all those things, be your hero, be your warrior, your knight, your gentleman, your gladiator, all those things when you're in your feminine, because then he feels that I need to protect her. I need to provide for her. I need to make sure she's safe. And when you're not in the energy, when you're in that masculine energy and you think, oh, I'm just going to browbeat him and ball bust him into being successful, doesn't work. It doesn't work. And, maybe he'll do it just to, shut you up for a while. Maybe he'll do it just for get some peace for a while and be like, okay, well, I'll do this so she'll leave me alone for a minute. But you keep doing that and he gets stressed out and broke down. He's just gonna be like, no, I'm good. I'm out. And so to have the polarity of the masculine and feminine is how you become the multiplier. He will naturally do those things on his own. You don't have to do anything other than be feminine and nurturing and supportive. And he will naturally go do all those things because he feels that need, the internal drive as a man to do those things. But when you're in your masculine and you're ball busting, you're trying to be a boss babe and show him how to do it, it's just not a recipe for success.
There are clear things that women don't like to do and don't want to do. Mm-hmm. Women don't want to take out the trash. Mm-hmm. Women don't want to pump the gas. Women don't want to shovel the snow. Let's be honest. I mean, y'all know women don't want to always decide everything. Women don't always want to have to plan and make things happen. Women don't always want to have to kill the spider or the snake or go check out the bump in the night or make sure the doors are locked at night. There's certain things that women, in the context of a relationship or just as a creature, don't want to do. When you are in that energy that he just described, you don't have to do those things. You get to be retired from those things. And that is what I would call a win-win. We all win. All we do is win, 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 no matter what. And if you don't have to do those things, it's freaking great. I guarantee you my wife can't remember the last time she pumped gas. I guarantee you she can't. I promise you. I mean, man, it wasn't in this decade. I'm telling you what I know, and there's certain things that I've told her she's retired from. She doesn't do. You don't do that anymore. I mean, little things. I mean, when we walk up to the car or we walk up to a door, she will stop and stand still. Not because I, make her or nothing like that, but because she knows she doesn't have to do those certain things anymore. When she was alive, the Queen of England didn't open doors, not because she couldn't, but because she was the queen. And so, when you operate in that space and then he operates in that space, man, it's a beautiful thing when it comes together, when it works all the way together. But when it's upside down, that's where we get all this chaos in our culture and in our ability to have relationships.
Yeah, the biggest issue that we're dealing with today is the lack of reality and the dismissiveness of especially the ladies in the feminist movement of truth. I mean, ladies have been working the same jobs, historically for about 100 something years, and now they've been fighting for all the freedoms and whatnot, and still working the same jobs. So now you have all the freedoms, but you still work, your nurses, school teachers, caretakers, artists, dancers, whatever. And so it's just we have to have a little reality checks. Like, look, stop trying to be a man, you're not. And stop trying to make your men into women. Just be a woman so he can be a man, and you'll have a lot more things you want. And stop trying to put your desires on your men. Stop trying to think that because you want it, you value it, he does as well. He doesn't care about your pocketbook and your checkbook. If he does, it's probably not a guy you want. He doesn't care about your accolades and your business, accoutrement and all that. That's his job. That's what he wants to do. That's what you value in him. So allow him to do that. Now, yeah, there are those exceptions to the rules, but for some reason, you ladies like to take those exceptions and try to make them in the rules. And it's just not going to happen. That's a small percentage. And the biggest majority is the usual masculine feminine dynamic that's going on in the world quietly still today, even though the loudest people out there are the ones trying to push this feminist narrative and the demasculization of men, trying to make men into girls and women into men and all that stuff. Those that are the most successful are ones that look at reality, look at truth, and go, okay, I have decisions to make, I have choices to make. Each one's have repercussions, and I get to choose for myself what's going to make me happy and then stick with that and not just change my mind because I think the grass is greener on the other side.
You're not hearing a conversation from two guys trying to push women into the kitchen or into the whatever out of the girl. You go be as smart and as brilliant and as successful as you can be in all of the things you choose to endeavor. I got three daughters. I hope they all achieve everything that they want to achieve in their life in terms of career and in terms of accomplishments and all those kinds of things. I mean, on their good days and our worst days, the days where they hate me, I still hope that they win in everything that they want. I wouldn't push any woman out of any space that she is not completely fulfilled. If you're fulfilled in the workforce, go for it, man. I hope my wife got more degrees than I do. Period. I mean, it just is what it is. I'm not against this. Is not that conversation. This is a conversation about when you come into the space, when you come into the space of relationship, when you come into the space of us, you know, that when you come into that space, you have a gift to offer. Don't like deny the world the gift that is something that you have to offer. I mean, the space needs you. And the space doesn't need you in what the narrative, the modern feminist narrative tells you the space needs. No, I already got that part. What I'm missing is what you have to offer, what you bring, your specialness, your pixie dust. Your pixie dust on this relationship is enough to catapult us to everywhere we need to be. And so go achieve all the things you want to achieve. And then when we come home, do you and let me do me. And then we do each other a lot.
Well, on that note, I don't think we can close it up any better than that. I don't think we can say any more than that. So we, as a Mad Men of Masculinity, want to say we love you, and we hope you will like and subscribe. And until next time, we are out.
Out.